You're listening to Re-enactment with Ash and Josh.
Enough. Oh, that would do.
So episode 14.
Yes, episode 14. That's the one. Let's not forget it, because I tend to forget which episodes it is. I feel like you're like rearing for this intro. You were straight in with that, so I'll let you have it.
Okay, guys, so welcome to episode 14 of the Rein podcast with Ash and Josh, and today we are joined by, would I say owner of Knights of Middle England? Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Owner,
Right.
founder,
director,
producer
the
of Knights of Middle
A-lister
England.
himself.
Sing the theme tune, write the theme tune.
Mate, welcome to the biggest equestrian podcast in the world.
I love this. Is that statistically correct?
No, but
no.
we're sticking with it.
Yeah, we're following along with it, and yeah, it seems to be going okay. I like people we've had on. I don't think anyone's seen anything quite like this.
Well, how could they with you two? I mean, it's
I know.
it's going to be big.
I feel like after the way we started social media, we probably went, we should probably show what we're really like now and let them see long form rather than wigs and cringy horse girl content.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, moving up in the world ever so slightly. Sometimes,
Slowly
hopefully.
getting there. But mate, honestly, thank you for coming down. Like I say, the last time we saw you was it Hoys? I thought it was.
I think
No,
it was
it's London.
Was it London?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Olympia. I still call it Olympia.
Yeah, it's a good way to start though, because that's actually where we first met you.
It is where we first met,
Yeah.
actually. You guys were just starting out. You had a brilliant trade stand with the brick wall effect, which I still love to this day. And you were very kindly gave me some merchandise. And we got introduced by our lovely friend Nick.
Yeah.
And it went from there, really. Yeah. A lot of my guys wear including myself, wear a lot of your stuff, especially the bottom jogger joppers, which are brilliant. What do you actually call them? They're not called bottom jogger joppers.
They're breeches, but we sort of tried to be really cool and street.
Yeah, I was going to say, you had a different name for them.
Yeah, so we've gone there, the breech easies.
Easies.
So it's like, well, it's really easy to wear these breeches.
But
and,
it is.
And we would have spelt it with an S, but we thought street artists don't
let's
do
be
that.
different, yeah.
Let's put it with a Z.
I'm actually pretty sure that the idea came from Kanye West, Yeezy, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it wasn't
I
actually
don't think
anything
you can
to do
say
with
that about another clothing brand. That might get us copyright infringement.
It
was-
Oh, it's the idea. We didn't
basically
steal the name, did we?
copied the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it slowly developed. But it's
that is where
so
we met.
nice that you've been supporting the brand, and
Very, very big believer. I think it's great what you guys are doing. I think there's a huge gap in the market for it, and I think I think you two are great as well. It's very much about you two, which makes the brand. I think if it was a brand with sort of just a like a company or not really a face to it, but it's you two personalities that obviously make the brand. So
I appreciate that.
no, it's good.
Well, one of the things, if you don't know Karl, which you'd be living under a rock if you don't, because you are one of the most the kindest people that we've met that have been so supportive of us, as briefly just touched on. But your what's the word I'm looking for? The charisma, the Karl is amazing to be around. Your energy is just incredible, and that fully transpires into what you set up. And that is the renowned Knights of Middle England. Now, talk to us. How did that come about? Because that isn't just a normal. I'm going to start a clothing brand. That is really in a niche.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for the compliment. I needed that this evening. How did it start? How did the company start? Why did I come up with it? That kind of thing.
Where did the idea come from? Was there a background that you had in something that maybe led on to that? And
okay, so I'm born and brought up with horses. Family have horses, have a yard, equestrian centre. So very lucky to ride from the soon as I could walk, so to speak. Probably before that, chucked on a little pony. Went up through the ranks through pony club and jumping and bit of dressage and you name it. I was chucked on the naughty horses and told to sort them out and all of that kind of stuff. So I love just sort of living a more adrenaline side of the horse disciplines. And it was really funny because it's gone full circle, which I'll come on to in a bit. I was about sort of 12, 13, and there was a stunt team of knights that were performing up in our area in Warwickshire, which is where I'm from, which is where the yard and the horses are all based. And one morning, the team turned up. They were leaving. They were overnighting their horses because they were from Wales, and they were overnighting their horses overnight. And they came to pick them up in the morning to go back to the show. Guy walks in, big boss man, and he sort of collars my mum. Have you got a head lad? Have you got someone that can fill in for us today? One of my lads, he's gone out. He's had a little bit too many. He's been locked up fighting. He's in a cell.
Sounded like a good night.
Yeah. I didn't realise that's how. Okay, that makes perfect sense.
He had a great night. So we need a rider. It doesn't matter if he can't ride, joust. It doesn't matter if he's not done anything like this before. We just need to get through today. We need to dress him up. We need to chuck him on. He can be like the numpty one in the corner and gallop around, and we just get through today whilst this guy gets released or whatever. So I get volunteered by my mum, and I didn't even know this. I think I was probably in bed. I just hear her screaming up to the house. She goes, "You're going off with the stunt team. You're going jousting." So, whoa, okay. And tell them you're 16, because I said you're 16, because otherwise they wouldn't take you. And I was quite big for 13. Played a lot of rugby, and so yeah, off I went. Initiation test. All the other lads obviously took the mick out of me. I was thrown into this very click, strong sort of stunt ego, big testosterone filled team, and there's me, this little 13-year-old guy that sort of comes along, kind of keeping quiet. They picked me up, they threw me in the river with all the costume on. I got absolutely I got ruined, and then they told me, and then the boss man told me off, said, "Why did I fall in the river with all the kit on?" And I was like, "I didn't, they threw me in the river." But absolutely loved it. I didn't fall off. I remember it really well now. They put me on an ex-racehorse, a retrained racehorse called Sam. It was about 18 years old. It had no brakes. It went off for me many a time, but I held on to it. I stayed on, and I think it was that buzz of 3,000, 4,000 people watching me galloping around, the energy and performing, and I thought, you know, I like this. And they kind of gave me a bit of a go and said, "Look, second show, you did all right the first show, take this lance, go and smack that spinning thing, which is called a quintain, which spins around on impact. They go, give it a go." And that was another thing the lads didn't tell me. So the lads went, "Oh, you don't wear your gloves because it's really slippy on if you hold the gloves. Take it off, mate. Put your gloves in your belt, and then you'll be able to grip hold of it." So, right, okay. So off I go galloping. My hand slips. I go all the way down.
Oh no!
I rip my knuckles open. There's blood peeing out of my knuckles, and I turn around and I think, well, why? And they're all laughing. I stop this horse at the end, and I turn around, everybody's got their gloves on, and I'm like, right, brilliant, thank you.
Something done out up here.
Yeah, so initiation test, loved it. The guy was pretty happy, and he said, "Look, you're obviously," and I performed as a kid, so I've always been a child actor. I went to drama school later on in life. I'd always done youth theatre. I'd done a lot of training and had a little kids agency, and I did stuff like that. So I love the kind of the performance side of it anyway, which is a big passion that I've carried on through life. But yeah, he just said, "What are you doing next weekend?" And I was like, I don't know. I was supposed to be doing a cross-country competition or something. And he was like, "No, you're not. You're coming with us. We'll get you picked up, and we're going to train you properly." And then really it kind of went from there, which was great. So I sort of started learning, bit of a summer job, bit of beer money. I used to get picked up because I obviously couldn't drive. I did that on the side of all my other horsey commitments, and yeah, sort of came and went out of it really, but then went off with other teams, learned stunt riding, learned how to fall off properly, learned falls, learned a bit of trick riding, jousting. And I played a lot of polo at the time as well. So that was my big thing on the side. So it was kind of an easy crossover, actually.
So that adrenaline, it's very fast paced, isn't it?
You got it. Yeah, it's fast paced. You got something in your hand. Because obviously you got a big long lance in your hand, or you got a polo stick in hand, same sort of thing. It's the balance, it's the core. You kind of don't really use your hands. You use your weight, you use your seat, you use your thighs. Horses are all really nicely trained because they have to be. They have to be used for polo, obviously, but also for jousting. It's a similar kind of thing. They've got stuff going on around their heads. It's very sort of straight line, stop, turn. And yeah, in fact, the ex-racehorse went on to be a polo pony. I think this Sam thing that I played. that I rode. But it's kind of a good crossover, really. So that's how it sort of started with them. And then when I was about 23, 24, I just felt this need of, I want to do this myself. I don't want to do this with anybody else. I want to I've got my own dream and I've got my own kind of ideas that I want to implement. So I want to start up my own company, really. And then I sort of phoned up a few acting mates, because by then I'd been to London, I'd been to drama school as well. And I rang up a couple of stuntman mates and a couple of horse riding mates and just went, hey guys, I want to start this team up. Do you want to join me? And they were just like, oh my God, yeah, well, we're in.
Amazing.
So it just started like that, really. I sort of formed the Knights of Middle England. Weekends, we started putting this show together. I started using some of my ex-polo ponies because they were there and it was easy to do because I could just train them in that way. I love retraining racehorses. This is something that I've always been passionate about, maybe from that 13-year-old experience on Sam, maybe stuck in me. But my mum's also used to be in racing when she was younger in Berkshire before she moved to Warwickshire. So thoroughbreds have always been a kind of a big thing for me. I started up the team, really. And then wanted to go one more step with it and make us very different in the fact that we weren't just a show team. We can teach people how to have a go. And it all came about from me having another adrenaline-filled accident, a skiing accident, where I nearly died.
Never ends well with skiing.
Oh,
never ends well.
Have you guys had bad skiing accidents?
I don't trust myself. Like, genuinely, I do not trust
I
myself.
hear too many stories like yours, and
Yeah, I landed on my ski pole and snapped it in half, and it punctured straight through me. I got airlifted off the mountain, and I spent 2 weeks in intensive care in Austria. Woke up 3 days later, and my mum was by my bed. I didn't go skiing with my mum. I went skiing with my mates.
Whoa! Wow!
How old were you when this happened?
So I was 22, 23. Yeah. So it was
just before you sort of started.
Yeah, it was bubbling. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it was bubbling, and this is why I sort of say it, because I spent a long time in hospital. I spent 2 weeks in intensive care, then got transferred to a surgical ward. I bust myself up quite badly. Lost my spleen, bit of my pancreas, punctured my lungs, broke ribs, smashed my head, broke my wrist. I properly mullered myself down this mountain. Very lucky to be here, which is another story. And I came back to England, had to go to hospital when I came back to England for a few more weeks because I had an infection and everything else. But whilst I was lying there, this is my point I'm getting to, is a mate of mine turned up to come and see me. And I was a bit down and I was a bit, polo, that's gone out the window. And I just had a really good acting job, a film job booked by my agent, and obviously couldn't do it. So I'd lost that. And it was a really nice part. It was in quite a nice movie. And I thought, this is going to be my big break, And all of these kind of things just went, woof, and I sort of lay there. And he just sort of said out the blue, he said, well, look, when you're better, just focus on the Knights of Middle England, focus on this idea that you've had. And why don't you teach people to play polo? You're a really good teacher, you're a good coach, and you teach people to ride horses. You teach actors how to ride. So why don't you teach someone how to joust? And I just went, shut up, you can't teach someone how to joust. He's like, well, of course you can. Like, you've taught people how to joust. He said, but public people, like customers. I was like, no, how can you do that? You can't do that safely. And then I thought about it, and I just lay there for ages. Head was going, yeah. And I thought, you know what? You probably could. You could strip that back, and you could open up. And I've got a passion for history anyway. History is a real kind of big thing for me as well. I love my history. And I thought, well, could I give them an experience, just a basic introduction to learning how to joust? And I thought, well, yeah, if you stripped it back, they don't charge at each other and try and knock each other off. And then it sort of went from there. And I thought, well, I'm going to do this. So as I got better, I approached like Red Letter Days and WH Smith and Virgin Experience Days and all of these buyer gift companies and loads of other places, and said to them, look, I've got this experience. Instead of driving around in a Ferrari around a racetrack for 3 laps or hot air ballooning, you haven't got anything like this on your books. And they were like, no, we haven't. We're the only place in the UK that was thinking about doing it. So using the home sort of equestrian centre, where my mum's runs a very successful riding school as well, we were all sort of set up for it anyway. So we sort of had the really safe horses and the big happy hackers and the cobs and the weight carrying horses and the ones that we used for riding for disabled and all those kind of horses. So I was like, do you know what? We can do this. We can literally do this. So we started, I built the equipment and I had got some mates in again. And we started the other side to the show side, which was let's open this up to the public and teach people how to have a go at jousting. And now it is still running after 20 years.
Wow.
We do stag do's, hen do's, corporate days, experience days where people come for the day, they get dressed up. Doesn't matter if they can't ride. If they can, they're in the experience group. If they can't, they're in the novice group. They're assigned a horse suitable to their ability, and they will end the day by either walking, trotting, or cantering with a lance in their hand. They've hit the spinning big shield target with the ball on it. They've lanced a few gold rings. They've stabbed a few peasants' heads. They've had a sword fight out of a movie we may have worked on. We've taught them a sword fight with real swords. They've done some longbow archery. They've had a big lunch, and then they do a big competition in the afternoon, and then they get to joust against an instructor. So the instructor goes against them.
That sounds very unfair.
It does, doesn't it? It does. It does actually. Yeah.
Did you enjoy your day?
Yeah.
I'm about to beat the shit out of you.
I must say, we don't hit them. We're not allowed to hit them. So yeah, they hit us. We don't hit them. But yeah, and then they go home with a certificate. So that's the Knights of Middle England. So the shows have just gone from strength to strength. The school side of it has gone strength to strength. And now we teach 4 disciplines. We teach jousting was how we started. So we're medieval by name, but we're not medieval by nature anymore. We've evolved. You have got to keep evolving, as you guys know.
Absolutely.
You can't just stick with it. Shows, you've got to keep evolving the shows, which we have done, which I'll come on to in a bit. But
100%.
we do jousting was our first one, but then we went into horse archery, and I'm a horse archery coach, and I've got a great lot of guys that come and do clinics and teaching that are really good horse archers from around the country. We do trick riding and stunt riding, and we have a couple of resident trick riders and stunt riders. And then we do side saddle, which is, so we do 4 disciplines. And side saddle, we have, again, a couple of great instructors and side saddle horses. So you can basically come to our place in Warwick and do those 4 disciplines from 0 to hero. You can come and have a go at it, cross it off your list, bucket list. You can come and train in it and do exams and actually get to a good standard, or you want to do it in the industry and you want to get there. You want to be a side saddle instructor, you want to be a trick rider in a show, you want to take part in the next British horse archery competition. You can do it to whatever level you want, which is great. So, and that's kind of where the business has gone. And then the show side has gone on to whatever, Vikings, Romans, modern musicals.
Which is I know you've probably got so many equestrian questions, but this is, for us, is the first podcast where I relate to a guest from the acting side. So, and it's weird, you're literally split down the middle of us, and it's like that, the storylines that you develop, where do they come from? Are they based off of history and taken from that, or?
I think really, guys, yeah, you're right. The horsey side and the acting side. So that is my big thing. I guess maybe that's just what I wanted to do. I love horses. Horses are my passion. I'm a horseman. I've been surrounded with them all my life. My mum's a horsewoman. My sister is a horsewoman. We're horsey. But I have a real big passion for drama and theatre and performance and film and TV and acting. Went to drama school. I went to university. I studied, I have an agent. I perform. That's something I really, truly believe in. I've done theatre, but I always miss the horses when I'm doing that side. Yeah. And then I miss that side when I'm doing the horses. So that's really why when I lay in hospital going, and it was really the job that I got off the movie I didn't get off the movie because I was ill. That kind of it grounded me a little bit and went, oh, what happens if this wasn't your big break? What happens if, you can't be, I don't want to be one of these guys that is just chasing and I want to know what I'm doing. I want to create my own
100%.
sort of, my own sort of destiny, if you like. So I was like, well, okay, I'm going to create my side of theatre and I want to bring horse theatre. I want to bring equestrian theatre to life. So yeah, I guess the ideas come about from me. Yeah, they come from my head. They come from, history, if they're history based. For instance, we have a show running at the moment at Warwick Castle, which is Wars of the Roses. So obviously Wars of the Roses is based on British history.
I do love War of the Roses. Big fan of it.
Are you? There you go. Are you a Lancastrian or are you a Yorkist? Are you a red rose or a white rose?
I am a white rose.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm a white rose.
I am a red rose.
There's a dispute. Karl, do you know anything about War of the Roses?
Not a chance,
Didn't
mate.
think so.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go straight over my head. But
it's really interesting to see that you, to a certain extent, problem solving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, Josh. Yeah. Yeah.
You found a solution to your problems, which was combining two of your loves together to create a performance, which is there's always a similarity with everyone we speak to when they're creating a career for themselves. Is it always comes from a problem that they end up solving. No different to Half Step. I didn't have any riding gear, so I solved a problem.
Yeah.
And that's how so many businesses originate from. And it's crazy. No matter people's backgrounds or what they do, it always seems to be a very, very, very similar thing.
Yeah, and you have to adapt. I think you have to adapt. You can't. And you got to work hard. You have to work hard, and it's not easy. But I think you're right. Yeah, I just looked at it and I went, well, how am I going to do this? And I really believe in this, and I really am passionate, and I love this. So why can't we do it together? And I always remember people saying, it won't work, and I was like, no, it will. And I don't just want it to work. I want it to be good, and we've raised the bar. I think, of course I'm biased, but, I think we've got a very good name, and we've been around now for over 20 years. And I love to create entertainment with horses. I love to showcase what horses can do, but I want to tell a story. I want to tell a narrative. I don't just want to be people to watch go, oh wow, that was a really good trick, or oh gosh, that's impressive when that guy got knocked off his horse, or whatever it may be. I want there to be an arc. I want there to be a journey, and I think that's obviously the acting.
Yeah, it plays hand in hand for that. And I mean, honestly, it's fascinating because I've only ever seen one thing in my time where it's similar to what you guys do, and that was when I was like maybe 9 or 10 years old, and I went to Las Vegas, which sounds very grandiose for a 9 or 10 year old. But I was over there, and I think it was at Castle, and they have like, you go and sit in the round, and you have like a medieval traditional style meal, and then they essentially do what you do, but by nowhere means as good as what you guys
do. I'm sure
do.
it is, mate, over there in Las Vegas. I'm sure
it's very different when you can put like £1 million worth of lights in a stadium, but
it would be nice.
Yeah, it will. But that is coming up to it, because you're now actually. Is this the first time you've done like a performance kind of like Hoys?
No. We've done Hoys before. We performed at Hoys back in 2010, I think it was, or 2011. So we did the British Open Championships. I don't know if you guys remember that, but there used to be a show run by Grandstand, which was like the pre-show before Hoys.
Yeah, I remember. Yep.
It was a show jumping mainly competition. It was in sort of Easter time.
Yes.
And it was always at the NEC.
Right. Okay.
So we performed there one year. And then we performed at Hoys, sort of, I think it was the following year. And we took a very unique show. We took the jousting with us, but we took a unique show. We had a really nice story and lots of props and fire. And I think it went down very well. And then we sort of, I sort of thought, I don't want to come back and do that again. I wanted to wait until we could have something different. And every year we might talk or chat. We've got a good relationship with them. And they would say, have you got anything new? And I said, oh, well, we got this going on. But it just never sort of fell at the right time. During that time, I performed in a show in Greece, the musical. I've done it a couple of times now. And I just thought in the back of my head, and I just sat there one day and I was just like, this would work. This would work on horses. Wow. I could just see the crossover, the horsepower, the cars in Greece.
Yeah, 100%.
John Travolta and the racing around in the cars and the boys in their jackets, they're the gangs, and the girls and their gang, and it works. And I just thought, but no one's ever done it. And I sort of did a bit of research and and it just fell. I pitched it. And it fell right. They just sort of said, "Oh my God, has anyone done this before?" I said, "No." I said, "This is the thing. We will create this new for you." So I am taking Greece with live singers. We're gonna have Danny and Sandy are gonna sing.
Wow.
Which makes it again even more unique because it's not just sort of pressing play of the music and we're just gonna cant around. And we're gonna have all sorts of things. We're gonna have trick riding. We're gonna have liberty. We're gonna have stunts. We're gonna have fire. We're going to have a few surprises along the way, and we're going to perform. And it's such a nice venue there, isn't it? And the magic of Hoy's.
It's stunning.
How long would that performance be?
So I think we those ones are really quick, unfortunately, aren't they? It's not like you can do
Full musical worth.
Yeah.
I want to see
with
the,
an interval.
I want to see the dialogue between the horses, like the horses in the background. Can they stay between this monologue? No concentration.
in the zone. I think we've only got about 15, 20 minutes, to be honest, mate. Yeah. So it's going to be quick. Yeah. So what we're going to do is just do a medley of songs and pick some of the favourites. But you can imagine, say, for instance, the trick where we call it Roman riding. I'm sure you guys have heard that or seen it before, but it's where one of the riders will ride over two horses, so 1 foot on one horse, 1 foot on another in a pair, and galloping around. And it's hard to do, and you need very good horses, but we want to create that and have a bit of a race, and that could sort of be the horsepower related to the cars. But for instance, think about that song "Grease Lightning," and you can do it. That is just it will just.
It's
work.
one of his favourite songs, honestly. Out of all of the D Block Europe he listens to, and then all of a sudden you'll hear from Rein to
It's a good party song. I'm not gonna lie, it's a good party song.
I grew up in musical theatre and acting, and I don't think it's a good party song for the vibe that you give it to. And he bangs it out.
Grease and ABBA go to.
ABBA, I can give you. ABBA is a go-to.
You're with me. You're feeling me.
Yeah, I think that is unbelievable. It's so different, so unique, and your passion for it just like is enthralling.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's so nice to see entertainment brought to the industry.
Yeah.
And I say that as a dressage rider who believes that the dressage industry is dying, because it's probably won't be an Olympic sport in 12 years' time. Because
you think?
I just feel that it's not entertaining. And what you're doing is bringing entertainment to the industry, which also brings an attraction of mainstream personnel as well. They would be able to watch that and enjoy that. And that is a lot of what we discuss with Half Step, is trying to be able to attract mainstream to the industry, because it is becoming isolated far more. Like you've got...
Yeah, I think it's happening quicker than people actually realise that as well. Like, it's no different to like the advancements in like, as an example, like technology. And like over the last 20 years, it was like 7,000 something % the advancement that we took in our like lifespan of humans, from being like apes to like how technically advanced we are now. And it's literally in the last 20 years, it's like gone 7,000%, just skyrocketed. Right. And it's that same sort of Mandela effect where you've got, it is going down the complete opposite way, where this world is now really advancing and people are getting really hooked into like entertainment content and really quick engaging content, and things are changing and becoming a bit more liberal or left or this, that and the other. And you've got this one weird industry that is a lifestyle for a lot of people, for some reason isn't managing to catch up. But it doesn't also, there's a part of it that doesn't want to catch up. It's just, I've never found the real answer to this question I've asked a few times, and it's just strange. I can't understand why.
So I think you're right there. I think it's very old school. I think there's a lot of old school mentalities. That's one of the reasons why this show didn't land 5 years ago, because there was a lot of people that were scared of going for the change,
absolutely,
and having something unique and different. And you've got to adapt. Again, it's that word, isn't it? You've got to evolve and you've got to adapt. But you've got to adapt to your society. The conversations we're having now, what you've just said, these conversations we're having now, they were so different 5 years ago. And oh my God, they were so different 10 years ago. The world is changing so quickly. Society is changing so quickly. So you've got to adapt to that. Now, everybody loves entertainment. Everybody, in some form, entertainment ticks a huge box. So if you're wanting to get more people into the equestrian world and showcase them what is on offer, that they might want to go down the showing road, the show jumping, the dressage, sponsors might want to come on board, the family, you've got to cross different generations from kids to adults. It's quite cliquey. You want to bring new people in. They need to see what it is and actually get involved. You've got to open the doors a little bit. How do you do that? You do that by creating something that is accessible and something that crosses over all generations and hooks them in so they have a good time. And it's those things that just are always buzzing in the back of my head. Hence why a show that is entertainment. It will be a party. I want people to clap their hands, stamp their feet, sing, dance. I want them to come out of that 20 minutes performance and go, oh my God, did you see when that horse did that? But then she was doing that and singing, and oh, that horse looks so good when he was doing that, and he's so cute, and I've got a horse that looks a bit like that. Oh, and that song was brilliant. So they're talking about the horses and the entertainment, and that is hard to do. And that's kind of where I'm coming from, really, because you're right. Otherwise, people come along and go, well, what was fun about that? You know, I won't go to that next year because I didn't really have a good time. And I'm just trying to, you know, I want to give. It's the same with the Knights of England. I want to, yes, it's a business and it has to make money, but I'm really passionate about people being introduced to these 4 disciplines.
Yeah.
Like unique disciplines.
Unique disciplines.
Because I've been in the industry a long time. I've never had the opportunity to do any of that.
Right.
Which is like crazy when you're here talking about it and saying the days that you do. And I've been in the industry my mum has as well. Yeah. My whole family. Yet not once did that ever cross their mind or my mind. Yeah. It's only recently since I've met like Freddie Steele, yourself, Ben Atkinson, that I was like, wow, this industry, which was quite a manly industry as well, which is something I was crying out for as a young lad. Doing dressage, it's not really a manly sport, is it? By any means. So I was crying out for, like you were talking about the stories where you're around masculine men doing trick riding stunts. I would have loved to do that, but I would never have known how to get into it or anything along those lines. So like you say, with the entertainment side of things that you're doing, that's a filtering system. If you get people engaged and enjoy it, they're going to go, oh, maybe I can go to my local riding school. And like you touched on your mum, fantastic having a riding school. But also, so many riding schools are closing down.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So the accessibility of it is becoming less and less as well. And that's if you look at like the FA for the Football Association, they spent a lot of money on the grassroots of football. Not one association. We've got BEF, but they say that British Dressage, BSJA, and BE should be funding the riding schools. And then it's just an argument between themselves. So no one actually funds the riding schools. And like, we went 2 years ago to a riding school, something like
about
that.
18 months,
and it was inner city London, and again they were trying to fund, and it's sad because you saw people that were coming from backgrounds
100%
that needed that. They needed those horses as an escape.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they were going to lose them.
Yeah, it is sad. It is really sad. It's something that actually gets me going a little bit, because I think people underestimate the power of horses, and I think they underestimate I'm going to go there. Mental health. It is so current at the moment, more so in the last 5 to 10 years. Yes, everyone's talking about it. Some people are, mental health, but there is a big key there, and horses are such a good tap in to that. People from different backgrounds, people that have never seen a horse before up close, and they just want to touch a horse. They just, the connection that horses can do, the way you can improve somebody's mind or physical being by that connection with horses is unbelievable. And I see it day in, day out. We've done some riding for disabled. We've taught a blind guy to jump before. It's just really cool stuff, and it is so humbling. And so it is sad. There are riding schools closing down. My mum's been going for about 50 years now. I mean,
that's impressive.
And a lot of her closed down around us in the surrounding area. But I think the thing is, you've got to get the balance right. You've got to encourage the grassroots, but you've got to make it fun. Yes, if people want to then take it to the higher level, then that's great. But they're already hooked in then. There's no point in going at them with, yes, but you must be at this level, and da-da-da. People just get scared and just back off, and they don't enjoy it. So you've got to bring them in gently. And that's kind of with my entertainment side of it. I want people to come and watch and enjoy, and then go, exactly that. Go, do you know what? you never come and watch me ride, and maybe the husband comes to watch or something, or the family, or the brother that maybe the daughter's playing riding, but the brother's always playing rugby, but he sees a T-bird galloping around at the NEC hanging upside down singing Grease Lightning, and he's like, do you know what, I'm going to come with my sister next week to the riding school and I want a lesson because I want to do that. And if we've converted one guy, one kid, one girl, one dad, one wife, and they start to learn riding, job done.
Yeah.
Job done. And I know full well we'll convert more than one.
Yeah. It's really interesting because the episode that we've just previously filmed.
We're so the same, because I was going to say the same thing.
He is a Muay Thai trainer, ex-professional fighter, right?
Okay.
So stereotypically, you would not think he had anything to do with horses whatsoever. Right. And it was all over a girl, actually. He got into horses at age 26.
Right.
And it's his life. He absolutely loves and adores horses, which is amazing. And he talks hugely about how therapeutic they are for him. It's his escape from everything.
Right.
Which again is amazing. And like touching what you were saying about the mental health side of things, I did and do still a lot of work with the Emile Ferret Foundation.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but basically, it's inner city children. They get involved in the riding, and we actually said this on the last episode, so I am going to repeat myself here.
It sounds like a paid ad now.
Yeah, literally. But there was a child, he'd not said a word in 3-4 years. His first riding lesson, he really enjoyed. He was just walking around the school. The instructor said, "Look, if you leave, what would you like to trot?" He nodded his head. She was like, "Well, you're gonna have to say yes if you want it," and it got him talking.
Yeah, brilliant.
And you're like, that is the benefit of horses. Absolutely. And now we need to make it more accessible for people, because it's so important. But not only with the horses and the animals, brings people into nature, which is so important. I'm huge into my ancestral living, so that is a massive motivator for me.
Okay.
Just keep being as natural as possible, and people being able to go out in fresh air around horses.
Is that why you ride without many clothes on?
Oh no, it makes sense. Yes,
that's why
he's going back to his Genghis Khan.
The Viking days, you know.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
That's why you just want to feel at one with nature.
Yeah, absolutely,
it makes sense.
So yeah, it's quite, do you know what? It
you
was
walked into that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
right off.
What can I say? Amazing advertising for Half Step is owning a brand, not wearing the clothes.
Very good point.
Good point,
So
though.
there we're plugging Half Step. But so we're talking about the entertainment side of things. We're touch on mental health. Where do you? You said like Nights of England has been going for like 20 years. Where do you see it in 20 years' time?
Wow. Yeah. Good question. I don't think anyone has asked me that for a long
20
time.
years ago.
Yeah. I think for me, I'll keep going with it and keep growing it and keep expanding it. I think the key is you've got to evolve. You've got to keep moving forward. You've got to go for those challenges. You've got to go for that. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is going to be hard to do this show. This is a technical show to create. We've never done it before. We've done shows like it, but we've never done this show. So we're going to create a new show. It's not like this is something that we roll out every weekend.
A lot of pressure to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, big stage, isn't it? It's a big stage. A lot of people.
How many seats in the Hoys?
Oh, I don't know. It's definitely got to be 5,000 or 6,000, surely, or even more probably.
And it'll be going out on social media, etc.
Wow.
Yeah, but that doesn't. We're not worried about that. We perform in crowds every day, 7 days a week at castles and game fairs and county shows and TV and film. That side of it, it's more about getting it right and doing it to the best of our ability.
Yep.
And the big thing for us is as well. I'm a firm believer in using any horse. It doesn't have to be. I don't need 20 white Spanish Andalusians, stallions, or do you know what I mean? Like I just whatever works. If it's happy, it's got a good temperament. I mean, we have got Spanish horses. We've got Lusitanos, we've got Irish cobs, we've got Frisians, we've got thoroughbreds, we've got you name it. We've got everything, and I love that. I love that because that is another link in where you've got so many people watching, and if we've got a great Irish cob called Chieftain, and he is just a dude. You can put a really experienced rider on him and do loads of crazy stunts and tricks, and he jumps, he cross countries, he goes hunting, he can knock out a basic dressage test. But then you could also put a beginner on him, and he would just go, okay, I got it. I just need to be really quiet and just walk around in a circle because this guy or girl it doesn't have a clue. So I'm just going to be really good and I'll just plod along.
That's
but
incredible.
then literally get him off. One of us jump on him, pick him up. He's like, right, let's go. And he's all on his toes and he's like, all right, come on, let's go and do it. So it's unbelievable to get those kind of horses, as you know, right? It's hard to find those kind of horses. But someone in the crowd will be watching, a family will be going, oh, and he looks like just a happy Irish cob. He's black. He's very handsome, black with a white face, but it's very relatable is what I'm trying to say. Horses there is this in the industry.
You got something for everyone, haven't you?
You have to, because it's all very well. You've got big fancy horses, which we have to for our nature of our industry, but we also have just your everyday breed. And it's got a good brain and it's trainable, then why not? And then those people in the crowd will go, that looks like mine.
They can relate to it then.
Of course they
It
can,
makes it the whole thing relatable.
absolutely.
Also, idiots like me will go, there's a white one. There's one that looks like a cow. That's great.
That's the dads and the boyfriends in the background watching, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, the brown and white one, that looks like a cow. But to answer your question, I've massively digressed. 20 years time, keep changing it up. Keep bringing entertainment. I love entertainment. I love performing. I love theatre. And I love horses, and I love training horses. I love pushing the barriers. I like creating new stunts. I'm a producer. I love directing. I love building a team. I have a really good, strong team at the moment. It takes years to establish that.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, how many people have you got around you?
Yeah, good call. So, gosh, it depends on what job we're doing. So, are you talking about sort of as in people that perform, or you mean sort of more about back at the yard?
I think the whole team, because it'll be really interesting to see how you manage that.
Okay.
Because like you say, absolutely sounds amazing, but there must be a lot for you to manage and balance in your own personal life.
Absolutely.
So I think it'll be very interesting for people listening to hear how you balance that and how you manage people.
Yeah. I think manage people is a really key thing, and I've had to learn how to do that.
Pay rises.
Not on this show. Don't you hold me to anything.
There's a
now.
writer's strike. Come on, we need to.
There is. Yeah. I was waiting for my guys to not turn up to work the other day. Guys, that's in America. Not here.
SAG isn't here. It's equity. Let's go. Equity, baby.
Yeah, equity, baby. I've got a good team. So, for instance, take an average of a busy season like that. There's around 30 people. We've got probably 50 on our books, 30 around at the moment performing in various shows. So this season there's around 30 odd, depending on what job. If we're doing another show or a filming job, we'll bring in more. But back at the yard as well, there's probably sort of 4 or 5 key people that are sort of the big giant cog, as it were, helping. The other guys are more performance side and are employed to come and trick ride, joust, act, sing, perform. And then we have certain crossovers where some of them also teach as well, the clients. But really back at base, there's 4 to 5, myself, my wife, and we managed, my wife and I really managed the whole lot. But she's just given birth. We've got an 8-month-old beautiful daughter.
Congratulations.
I'm a dad. Thank you so much. Yeah, little Ophelia, who's already been on a pony, and she's already had a polo stick in her hand.
Nice. Start them young.
Yes,
they know no different.
Start them young. If she falls, she'll bounce.
They're light.
Please do not try that at home.
Throwing your kid on the floor, no advice.
Get one of those bucket saddles. It's hard. It's hard to manage people, and it's hard to manage people in the entertainment industry, as you will know. But it's hard to manage anybody. It's manage horses. You need good people around. You need people that also give a I can't swear.
Yeah,
you can give a shit about the horses, because without the horses, guys, we haven't got a company. Yeah. We haven't got a show. And often I'm finding myself talking to the guys like that, going, guys, the horses are the stars of the show. We say it in our shows. At the end of the show, we give the horses a round of applause and we say to the audience, ladies and gentlemen, would you please show your appreciation, not for the performers, but for the true stars of the show, the mighty horses, please. And the crowd love it. They go nuts. But it's true. We're not trying to just get another sort of gratuitous applause. Without the horses, we don't have anything. So it's finding people that really want to do the entertainment side and love the crowd and the showbiz side, the performance side, that side of the camera or that side of the audience. But it's then finding the people that really know what it takes or the other side backstage and the hard work that it takes.
And I think those are two completely separate things, because from the performance side, you're probably going to have an ego about you and something to offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is sometimes not associated with what you're saying behind the camera.
You got it.
And I can imagine as well, when you're creating a performance, different roles, different people.
Absolutely.
Can that sometimes be very difficult because someone isn't the main star in that?
You got it. You've hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. Yeah. It is. It's literally juggling egos, juggling characters, managing people, knowing who's got the strength and weaknesses. And as my role is to do that as professionally and as unbiased and as efficient as possible, because I look at it from different eyes and I need to go, well, look, you're really good at that. And you are really good at that, but he's better. You're maybe better at that with that horse and you can do that, but he or she can actually do this. And so let's work together. And in our industry, in the entertainment industry with horses, it is very much that. And then you have the people backstage or behind the scenes are a lot different to then the people that are performing, because actually they don't want to be performing because they're quite shy or maybe reserved. And so you've got this big mix of people, and that really is what our company is. And it is a plethora. Oh, look at that word for today. Plethora.
That was strong.
A plethora
Strong
of
word.
Talent of all walks of life, which makes
huge diversity.
which makes it exciting. Yeah, huge diversity. We got guys, we got girls, we've got performers, actors that go on the West End, actors that do fringe. We've got singers, guys that are in bands. We've got stunt guys that when they're not stunt riding, they're paramedics and firemen. We've got people that are in wedding bands, and then when they've got the gig, they're not doing the gig, they're riding with us and performing. We've got loads of different sort of walks of life. Equestrian artists, that's their full-time job, and they will tour from show to show to show, and they'll go off around Europe and perform with some of the biggest horse shows in the world. And all of these, we've got straight actors that know bugger all anything about horses, but then they come into the season and they work with us, and by the end of it, and this is really cool, I've got four actors that started this year in April, May, and never seen a horse, never touched a horse before, lived in London. Brilliant actors, really strong actors, but have been cast in a horse show. And so they've got to quickly learn, because they're acting and performing whilst these horses are galloping past them. And if they get in the wrong place but they also are asked to get involved with the horses backstage. They've got to hold a horse. They might need to help tack up a horse. They need to maybe help put the horse on the lorry, or they might be asked, could you wash that horse down? Because we're a bit, we're quite full on at the moment. Would you might grab that? Well, we've got this mentality as of everybody sort of chucks in and does everything. We're
a real team.
Circus, circus team.
That's all theatre was.
Exactly. Theatre. You don't leave until everything's done. Real team. Everybody does everything. Everyone helps with costume. Everyone helps with the horses. Everyone helps. You're not too big to pick up the poo and skip out a box. Whether you're a brilliant actor or whether you're the most amazing stunt guy, you can still pick up those droppings, or you can still clean that bridle, or you could still wash that horse, or you could clean that sword, so everybody. But what it does is it puts everybody on a level playing field, and then suddenly you don't get this butting of heads. But these actors have started learning to ride this season, and 3 of them have just taken to it like a duck to water. One of them, he's giving it a go. He's not sure. He's trying. He's still bouncing around in the trot, and he's like, I'm not sure I'm going to handle this. I'll keep going with it till September. But the other 3 are loving it. I've got one cantering. I've got one that wants to start trick riding, and then I've got another one that absolutely loves going hacking around the fields. And
That's
it's just
amazing.
So it's great.
But you're like touching on like different people and what that sport offers them. You got like the adrenaline junkie, the one that probably just relax and going on a hack. It's
just
amazing.
Loves hacking.
But taking it back slightly and talking about how all the team is on the same playing field. How do you create a team to bond? Because obviously what we're touching on, there's a lot of trust in performance, being in the right place. You're putting a lot of trust in each other. How do you bring all these people together?
I think it's building a team. It's building a unit. It's it's trust.
Yep.
It's trusting them. It's running a tight ship. It's making sure everybody feels comfortable with what they're doing. They feel safe. People get defensive when they feel pushed. Natural reaction, isn't it?
Yep.
Some people react differently, but most of all, if people get pushed a little bit or they feel uncomfortable, a lot of the time you'll see the wall come down and they shut off and they get defensive, and then that can create sparks, and then you get negativity. It doesn't mean to be negative, but it comes out negative because that's how they express themselves. So
how would you deal with situations like we're talking about? How if that was going on, how do you manage that, and how do you deal with that?
I'll buy the McDonald's breakfast and
It's nice. It's a weird
bribery.
I
love it.
You're also probably coming from two different directions, and like the equestrian side, I wouldn't know, but I probably really understand where you'd come from with trying to deal with performers and actors, because as an actor, like, you can get, some actors can take direction fantastically, and I can tell you now there is a lot of actors that cannot take direction at all. So trying to manage performers in this amazing crossover that you've done, I can imagine is very, very difficult, because the thing is like with acting and if you've got a character specifically and you've spent months either methoding it or embodying it, and you've got the whole backstory, you know what your character's favorite breakfast was 10 years ago, like you become this person, so it's almost become, some people say it's that personal attack on them. So I imagine that's very difficult as a director, but also as a company director, as a stunt coordinator, as a writer. Do you just want to live with stress and anxiety?
I am stressed a lot of the time. I'll give you that. You've hit the nail on the head, really, Ash. It is that. It's all of those. It's all of the above. You literally ticked every box, and that is my job on a day-to-day basis. It literally is. There's no. To answer your question, Ash, there's no. Josh, there's no rule. I don't go in and go, right, I'm going to do this and that will sort it out.
No, of course.
You have to have respect for the guys. A lot of the time, the guys are there because they're good, and otherwise I wouldn't have them. It's a strict process to get in. A lot of people go, I always audition and I never get in, and I said, well, standard's high. Standard is high, guys, and just keep applying. I'm talking more from a performance role.
Yep.
But we have a great retaining 90% probably return every year in, year out, which is brilliant. I've got guys that were with me for years and they just stay with me, which has got to mean we're doing something right. But I think it's making sure that they're happy, making sure that there's a respect, but also allowing them to have a little bit of creativity in what they're doing. I'm not one of these guys that goes, right, this is the show, this is what I want you to do, you're going to go from there, you're going to ride that horse. No, you're not doing that, you're doing it like this.
This is my vision, don't stray with outside those lines.
Yeah, I'm not like that. It's real creative, and it's real, right guys, how are we going to do this scene? Okay, this is what I would like it to look like, but what do you think? And we open it up and we put it up. What do you reckon? Right. Yeah. Okay. All right, no, that's good. I'll take that. And what about you? Fine. Would that work? Though, if you and then they start, no, actually that wouldn't work with it. Okay, well let's try it and let's see what happens. So at least give it a go.
So you're putting the ball back in their court.
Give it a go, and then maybe sometimes in the back of my head, I know it's not going to work, but we'll do it anyway. And then they can discover that it's not going to work, and then they go, it doesn't work, does it? No, it doesn't work. But at least we've given it a go. So I've given them an opportunity to give it a go. I'm not saying I've always got it right, and I don't, far from it. I'm not. But it's a creative process, so I like everyone to feel that they've had an input. I think that's probably the way around it.
It's funny because if I was taking a step back and looking at that, I would say that's a really intelligent coach's view on that they allow you to go and make the mistakes so you can learn the lesson. Yeah. Rather than maybe a director where you're like, no, it has to be done this way. Because some of the greatest coaches actually allow you to go and make mistakes so you can learn the lesson themselves. Sometimes the lesson is better learned.
You got it.
By making a mistake.
Well, you're not going to get better unless you make mistakes. Right? You've got to make mistakes. No one's perfect. No. And the only way we get better, you get better, everyone gets better, is by messing up. And you go, shit, I'm not going to do that again. And then you learn from it. And I think that took me a while, to understand that as a director and as a coach. I didn't want to be a director. I don't think it wasn't, I'm going to be a director. It fell into it. I think I just created this team, and then we're going to do this. And then it was like, oh, okay, I'm in charge of this then. So, okay, I'm going to use my acting background and my sort of experience so far working with a company and a team to start. And I got things wrong at the beginning, and I still get things wrong now, but I get more things right, probably more than I did back then. And I think it's just years in its experience. But I do look at it like a coach. I quite like that way. I do like to coach the guys. And I'm there to kind of, there's no point in me being full on with them and constantly on at them, because you're not going to get anybody working well like that. You've got to have a good relationship, really. So.
I think there's quite an interesting crossover between, similar to what you say about the coaching between performing arts and equestrian, and it's why we've heard stories that a lot of their riding instructors are so strict. The old structure of shouting, etc., and the complete drastic comparison is like when I performed for years and years and years before I went to the Brit School, and I think it was on the first day, I don't know if it was Stuart Warden was the head of it. Well, one of the teachers there sort of said, no, to be an actor, you have to feel like the biggest mug in the room. If you can get up on stage and go, I look like a tit, and not care, you're doing the right thing. Yeah. It's letting go of all that self ego and that level of just feeling, we used to call it just feel liquid. Yep. Just feel liquid, baby. And it's that same thing.
Just be, baby.
Just be, baby. And it's that same thing, I guess, if you was to cross over into the equestrian world, instead of this heels down, you're doing it wrong, sort of smile there, sack up.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Sing me a song while you walk around like that. Yeah. They're going to relax more. And maybe that is such a way of coaching that should really be introduced into riding schools and into private.
I think riding schools are very good. It's more parents. That's where you would probably see that happen quite frequently. I can't really talk from a parents with acting, but you see that fundamentally in horses. A lot of the time you see parents living their dream through their child. Yeah, especially in horses, that seems quite prevalent.
Ironically, that's the same as well in performing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I think with any sport, isn't it? I think whether it's rugby, cricket, horses, performing, I think you're right. And I think you got to make it fun. I mean, we teach actors how to ride now, and we make it fun. We do exercises on the horse. We get them to sing stuff like that. We get them to quote a Shakespeare monologue as so a little exercise of, right, guys, you're going to go from there to there. So this is point A. Point B is where the camera is. Where the camera will be. And then when you get where the camera there, I want you to walk really slowly on your horse, and then I want you to stop at point C, and I want you to say something. And we just build it up like that. And you might get someone and then we do it in trot, and then we do it in canter. And you might get someone that can't really ride, and they're all over the place, and they're nervous. It's not because they're scared. They're scared of riding, but they really want to be this actor to do the job. So as soon as you give them a direction, a directive and a direction as an actor and as a professional horseman or professional sportsman, suddenly the brain clicks into a different place, and you see the chalk and cheese. An example is for where it really works well that I discovered about 10 years ago. Had a couple of ladies that wanted to come and quickly get some training because they had a big audition coming up. And this Brazilian girl couldn't really ride. She really couldn't ride, but she was a gymnast, and she had a great core, really good balance. And she was a great actress, and she knew how to use her body, and she was very confident. But on a horse, she was the most unconfident person. Her hands would shake whilst holding the reins. When she would have to have help getting on board from the mountain block. She just was shit scared. And we had 3 days before this audition, and the self-tape that they had to do, the video, was she needed to be cantering across this field and stopping at shot in the camera and then galloping out of shot. and she needed that to send to her agent, to send to the casting director. On day one, I said to one of my guys teaching with me, I was like, there's no way. This isn't gonna happen. I mean, look at her. She's shit scared. She just doesn't, we can't even get her into a trot without her bouncing around and panicking. She would just freeze. So what she would do, she would tense. So her feet would come out of the stirrups because she'd latch on, lose her stirrups. Then she'd get wobbly because she's lost her stirrups.
And then it gets grips even more.
Then she grips even more.
Yeah.
Then the horse gets quicker. And then she pulls back on the reins, and then the horse gets socked in the mouth, and the horse stops dead. So then she gets pushed forwards, and it was just vicious circle. Day 2, we went out of the arena into a field. And I thought of pushing it here a little bit. And I said to her, look, this horse, I had to give her sort of the pep talk. This horse, his name was Taz, Tasmanian Devil. Probably not,
probably not see where the confidence fell.
Probably not great, but he was lovely. He was a really safe horse. A lot of mane. I said, look, if you feel really wobbly, I said, no one can see. I said, just put your reins round the mane as well as holding the reins. I said, and that way you'll be pulling on the mane, not the reins. I said, and if you feel like you're losing your stirrups, I was like, don't worry about it, okay? Because you're a good gymnast. You've got core strength. If you lose your stirrups, Carlotta, I think her name was, I can't remember now. I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, what would you do? I said, if you were sitting on the barrel of the horse that you do the vaulting and your gymnastic stuff on, I said, you'd have a long leg, wouldn't you? You'd push your hips down and you would try and sort of relax your leg. She's like, yeah. I was like, right, so do that. I said, if you lose it, don't, I know it instantly you want to go in a fetal position. I said, but don't. I said, grab hold of the mane, just relax the legs. And if he breaks into canter, where's he going to stop? He's going to stop there where there's 3 other horses and we're all standing there. He can't get out of this field. He's going to stop there by the gate. I was like, right. I said, now, third thing is, have a character, have a story in your head. I want you to go from there when we say action, do the bit, get to camera, gallop out. And I said, but think of something. Think of why you're cantering across that field, trotting across that field. And she's like, yeah, but my trot is really bouncy. I was like, I don't worry about that. I was like, we can do it again and again and again. It's fine. I said, but let's just try. Forget about the horse. Worry about your story. Where are you riding from? Why? Who are you being chased from? Or who are you going to see? Are you going to go and see a secret lover? Or are you being chased by, I gave her a few ideas. So we gave it a go. Right. Go, Carlotta. Action. Now, honestly, and it sticks with me now. That's why I'm saying it, because I've never seen someone transform. So this girl was shit scared. She couldn't ride. She'd lose her stirrups. She panicked. Taz, I don't know what happened to Taz, but Taz must have heard the pep talk, because I went action and she booted Taz. Taz decided to go into a steady little canter, little lopey canter, and Taz can't canter any quicker than a lopey canter. He hasn't got it in him. He's got big flares, big feathers, like really nice horse. He looks handsome, and he popped straight into this little lopey canter, which was brilliant because the trot was really bouncy for her because she couldn't sit to it. Yeah. She lost her stirrups within 2 strides because he popped into the canter.
Yeah.
She remembered what I said. You saw her face a little bit go like that, and then she dropped her long legs and she tried to relax her hips. She grabbed hold of the mane. Taz just went in this lovely like ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. And then I saw her go, because she's Brazilian, she went, vamos, 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 Taz, vamos, like that. And she started kicking him. And he pissed off across the field. She slammed on the brakes in front of the camera. She said her line, and then she left. And literally, I went cut like that, and everybody we looked around. Everyone just went, oh my God. And she was crying, and I said, you okay? She said, oh my God, that was brilliant. It was brilliant. She's crying her eyes out,
That's such an actress's response. I'm going to win the Oscar.
Literally. But I said to her, you did it. She said, did I do it? I was like, you cantered. You lost your stirrups. You said the line. You stopped in the place. Taz cantered on. She was like, oh, Taz, I love you. And from that moment on, she was converted to horses, and she's ridden ever since.
Wow.
There you go.
What an incredible story.
Honestly, I think that's fantastic. That's a good story to round it up on.
Actually, I do have one very unique question for you.
Go on. I know I've talked a lot.
Yeah. But from the 4 unique sport disciplines that you have, like the trick riding, etc., etc., do you think there's anything that can be learned from doing that for the sort of mainstream equestrian disciplines, such as show jumping, dressage, and eventing? And if so, what can you take from that?
Oh my God, yeah. Okay, springs to mind. So John T. Evans, after he had his few head injuries, as you know, came and I'm not sure. I think I could say this. John T. It's been and gone, hasn't it? Yeah. So John T. would come to us quietly to trick ride because he wanted to put himself. He's an inventor, obviously. He wanted to put himself into scenarios where he would feel uncomfortable or how to save a fall. So he would put himself in a scenario hanging off a horse where he could maybe pull himself back up into the saddle or see how he could feel with his head and sort of the motion of it, of maybe being upside down or in a plank across the or you know, in different scenarios to get his balance. So we take a lot of people in trick riding that then take that across to eventing, show jumping, not so much dressage for trick riding, but definitely the jumping sports because they want to feel what it's like on a moving horse with no hands, no reins, just trust the horse, trust the saddle. Horse archery and jousting, I mean, we get a lot of people from the equine industry that come and do it because they're bored of going round in circles. A lot of dressage riders come to us because they just want to let loose. They don't want to hold the horse in a contact. They just want to they just want to get on. They want to have some fun. They just want to go and smack something. I think it's out of all of the disciplines, I think the main thing there, without getting into each one bogged down, is the fact that they all increase your balance, your coordination, the trust with the horse, because you're putting yourselves into different positions that you normally would do in normal equestrian riding. Side saddle, for instance, jumping side saddle. As a guy, I should recommend it. You should do it. As a guy jumping side saddle, there are lots of guys.
Oh, I did side saddle. You did side saddle. You told me how to do side saddle, didn't I? Yeah.
Have you done side saddle?
I've done side saddle.
Did you jump?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. You need to jump.
I feel like I feel safe for jumping side saddle.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It is. You think, oh no, it's going to be really hard. It's actually, you feel really safe jumping side saddle. But I think the point there is that putting yourself in that position, until you do it, you don't realise. But actually, I really enjoyed jumping side saddle. And I was like, oh my God, actually, you're quite safe. But that helped me then transfer to my polo, and my trick riding and my jousting. Jousting, you're riding with one hand, you're carrying lots of equipment, you're leaning out, you're trying to reach for things. All of these things help my other disciplines. So yeah, I think does that answer your question?
No, 100%. It's just very interesting for the listeners to hear actually how taking themselves out of their comfort zone can really help bring it back to the discipline they do.
Absolutely.
I've actually got a really good question to round it up on, and it was a question I thought about. You mentioned something right at the beginning of the podcast. I was like, oh, I'm going to ask that question,
done.
and I've remembered it. With Knights of England, you said that you take on.
Are you looking for an audition to be in Greece as a T-Bird and Danny Zico?
Carl, first of all, I don't audition.
Do I need to speak to your agent?
I can pass this one. I can deal with my the performing arts side, but I'm more than happy to sing privately for you.
Perfect. I'd like a self-tape.
I'm sure we can really sell that. Is Knights of England? You have a lot of stags come. What is the funniest story you have from a stag attending Knights of England?
I can't go down that road.
Yeah, you can.
No, we have all sorts of crazy things that happen. I'll tell you what normally happens on a stag do, and then your imagination can go. Okay, so with stag do's, most of them can't ride because they're stags.
Shock.
And we do, which is actually, there you go. It's your kind of thing there. Actually, probably I would say 90% of stag do's that come are non-riders. We might get a group of lads that, army lads or.
Just for context, what about Hindu?
And Hindu.
What percentage would you say actually of women that come on Hindus would ride?
So there's a really good question. So I would say 80% of Hindus that come to us are riders.
That's a scary difference, isn't it?
Yeah. Good point, actually. And we talk about that, don't we? Same with you guys with the half step, isn't it? It's very interesting.
Back to the story that I really want to know.
Okay,
Screw half step. I want to know what happens on the stags.
We do different packages. We do a half day, a full day, and a complete evening package.
Dangerous.
With hog roast and evening entertainment.
I know where I'm booking my stag do. And I've got death threats from my girlfriend.
So, okay, I'll tell you what we do, which you'll find, which I can talk about before the evening entertainment starts, with the bucks and wenches, is we have a hog race. And what we make the stag do after we've thrown him in the river, dressed as a jester, after he's downed a pint through a straw, through a medieval helmet, through the air hole.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
We cut the pig's the heads off the pig. We have the local farmer gives us a pig. Well, we just give it to us. We buy a pig every time, massive pig, stick it in, spit roast it during the day, so the guys can see it cooked throughout the day, which is great. After a long day of jousting, stag entertainment and packages, sword fighting, horse archery, jousting, you name it, they come in and they eat and drink. Now, the stag has to do a couple of trials. You'll love this. We take the pig's head, and the first challenge is just the head. Okay, so it's the skull. It's still got its like flesh on it a little bit. The first challenge is eat the eye, which has been cooked.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So we take a spoon and we bring the eye out, and you ask, and we give the eye to the stag, and then everyone's like, "Oh my God!" So then, because they don't know it's coming, we then say, "Best man, you're up next. You're on the other eye." So best man does the other eye. Okay, it gets worse. So they're the eyes. Right?
We're not going there now, Carl.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that, and then
and he sits on a chair. He's strapped in, and then we get a bottle of tequila, and we pour a good healthy amount through the skull of the pig's head, down through its nasal passage, out into his mouth. So he's got to put the pig's mouth. He's got to kiss the pig's mouth. He's got to put the pig's snout in his mouth, and then one of us pours some sambuca or tequila down through, and he's got to do a good lot until the guy stops pouring, basically.
Oh, I was supposed to have sausages for dinner.
Yeah, that's number 2. And then the third one is, have you heard this before? Is this why you're asking me?
No,
okay.
I'm
fine. The third one is everyone's going to be like, what do you do to these pigs? It's so bloody weird. We quite liked it before that. We take the brain of the pig, which has been cooked, which is like cottage cheese. It is like cottage cheese, because it's literally Anyway, he has to eat a spoonful of it to finish.
Wow.
There you go. Yeah.
And do many of them are throwing up by that point?
Yes. This is at the end of the day. So that's their challenge. Yeah. And then they can party and drink and have some evening entertainment. During the day, one more thing, which I should have probably given you this version rather than the pig version, is during the day's activities, which is a lot. I don't know why I didn't talk about this.
Undersell it now after the pig.
No, this is a good one. And you've got to Google it as well. Everyone's got to YouTube it afterwards, because it's us. And we have you ever seen woman gets hit in the face by watermelon?
Oh yeah, I remember
YouTube?
you telling us the story. Yeah.
Right. So YouTube, everybody, and YouTube when we finish.
Yeah.
Right. Woman gets hit in the face by watermelon. Right.
Do you remember it pings back at her?
Millions.
That video, yeah.
So that was us doing some filming, and it was on Amazing Race, which was an American channel where they race around the world, and they get $1 million if they win. And these American couple, there was about 12 couples, they race around the world. Anyway, they get to England, and obviously what do you do in England? You storm a castle as one of your challenges. So they storm a castle, and one of their checkpoints it was a bit like a documentary thing. They had to fire these catapults with watermelons in to knock a knight over, a statue of a knight. And this particular clip is this American presenter who was with her friend trying to do the race, trying to knock this knight over, and she got her rubber catapult wires crossed. She didn't listen to the safety briefing.
Yeah, need that. Your safety briefing and tequila pig throwing. Yeah, of course. Hand in hand.
This is for the filming. This isn't a stag do. So I'm going. What is this? Why? So in it, the melon had got caught as she released it, and it went out. Spun round, came back in, a giant watermelon, and smashed her in the face and knocked her to the floor. Now she's okay. She's. I mean, if you watch the clip, it's
that video went viral.
Yeah, it was on YouTube. It went viral. It's gone nuts. Those catapults, after that filming, we took them back home to base, and now they are part of our stag packages. So Question 2, I shouldn't have gone down the pig road. Question 2, what do we do with the stags? We strip them down to their underpants, or if they're feeling good, they can go naked, just leave their boots and socks on because it's a good look. They have to hold a shield, a small shield in their left arm.
Oh no.
And they wear a helmet only. So that's it. So helmet, shield, underpants, boots. And then all of their mates line up and they put fruit in the catapult and they have to fire fruit at the stag, and the stag's not allowed to move. He's only allowed to defend with a shield, but we put 2 catapults going at the same time, and so he gets crossfired. If he moves, he has to take 5 steps forwards, closer to the target. That's just before the pig.
Oh my god!
What a way to end the podcast.
That is incredible. Carl, where can people find you?
Yeah. How did we get from serious horses to pig and catapult?
Have you met Josh and me? It's, this is very much the podcast.
But this is what it's all about. This is what I'm all about.
100%.
Entertainment. Knights of Middle England. Find us there. knightsofmiddleengland.com. Instagram is great. We spend a lot of time on Instagram. We've got a great website, but Instagram and Facebook is kind of where we're at. We're based in Warwickshire. You just need to Google, learn to ride, be a knight, learn to be a knight, learn to joust. We come straight up. Learn to trick ride, learn to side saddle. We're kind of all there. We're in Warwickshire. We do day packages, weekend packages, 5-day intensive packages, and show wise we perform around the country, as you guys know, and do TV.
But the big masterpiece is Hoys. You want everyone to go and see your Hoys. Do you want to give that a little promo?
Thank you. Yeah, I would love that. Thank you very much. I wasn't gonna ask, but it would be great if you could all come, buy some tickets, come to Horse of the Year show at Birmingham, first week or second week. I think it's the 4th of October, for a week, and come and watch a new, unique show. It's Greece, obviously. We all know Greece, but we're adapting it. An exclusive. Never been seen before in the country. We've got some great riders, some great stunt riders, some brilliant, lovely, stunning horses, some live singing, and we're going to have a party, and we're just going to have some fun. I'm going to bring the show, bring the entertainment. So we'd love everybody to come and
maybe
see us.
I should come in a wig and I'll play Sandy.
Oh my god! Yes,
You gotta keep up.
yes, that would be quite current as well.
Unfortunately, we try and stay away from that content, go down this way, and now I've somehow found my way back into the stage on that. Brother, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Carl.
100% have to do this
Absolute
again. If you've been listening on Spotify, Apple Music, all the rest of it, why not try watching it on YouTube or Rumble? Because if you watch it, it actually helps for ad revenue and it makes us richer. So I suggest going and watching it in the selfish context. Do you reckon?
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.